Live. What's up, guys? This is BrackCast number 32. Today we're going to talk about resistance to mandatory vaccinations. This is the video in question. Dr. Christina Park's testimony from Michigan, HB 4471. She's supporting a bill to prevent the government mandate for vaccinations. Although, okay, so basically she explains how there's a lot of pressure lately to push anyone who's not vaccinated yet to get vaccinated. And her argument is the fact that this pressure comes from misinformation to the public, you know, as if like getting this vaccination is going to help prevent transmission, or it's going to like reduce, I guess, the current numbers of infection. Or some people believe that it's going to actually make them immune to COVID, but that's not the case. So we talked about vaccine passports. We talked about, you know, like eventually this is going to become a thing where people are going to expect you to get vaccinated for certain lines of work, like let's say frontline work at the hospital. You know, I think there's a lot of pressure for like teachers, because all these kids are going to go back to school. If you're 12 and up, they're going to push anyone who's 12 and up to get it too. And I used to think, yeah, that makes sense. The school system makes sense. They should get vaccinated. But again, it doesn't do anything with transmission. So why put, like, okay, Deji, you were saying that you do see that like a lot of the new cases these days are people who aren't vaccinated.
I mean, yeah, just from like looking at the news and stuff, like the overarching sentiment is that the majority of people getting sick now are people that are unvaccinated,
Right.
or aren't fully vaccinated.
So why do you think that's the case if it has nothing to do with transmission? Like if it has nothing to do with preventing transmission?
Okay, I think like we have to weigh what is worse, transmission or after transmission symptoms and possible death. You know, because I think, yeah, the transmission element, okay, maybe it doesn't necessarily prevent that, but at the end of the day, like when you get sick, it's like a lot of people are getting sick, and those people that are getting sick are the people that are unvaccinated.
Okay,
you know?
So these cases,
Okay, go ahead.
The people who are getting sick, I mean, I guess they got to go in, get tested, and then, you know, it has nothing to do with admissions to the hospital, right? Like these are just people getting tested after feeling symptoms.
Yeah.
So if you're vaccinated and you get symptoms, do you think you would get tested? Like you just said, most of these people getting sick, contracting COVID, are not vaccinated, right? Okay. But even if you were vaccinated, it doesn't prevent you from catching it. So what is it about non-vaccinated people that are causing them to get infected more than non-vaccinated people?
So the thing, I watched the video and I find that she's very obviously she has she's trying to get a certain point across. So she focuses on how the virus can still be transmitted, but there's a reason. Like what does the vaccine do? So we've been told that the vaccine helps prevent serious, what do you call it? Hospital. It reduces the likelihood of serious illness
or severe symptoms from or hospitalization.
So with that being said, that is sort of represented in what the hospital cases are at right now, right? Because most of the people who go to the hospital are considered people who are very sick or who feel bad enough to go to the hospital.
Yes.
So the only people who show up who feel bad enough to go to the hospital, or the majority of them, are people who are unvaccinated.
Yes.
So
I definitely understand that. Yeah.
So if we were to look at the numbers, if we were to look at the numbers of like how many cases there are, and then compare them with how many people are actually in the hospital, which is sort of what matters, right? Because that's the whole point of lockdown and all that. You're trying to reduce the load in hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's working because of the vaccines, then the mandate sort of makes sense in that way, because the goal for the companies and the government is probably the greater good, right? So on an individual basis, then yeah, I mean, you can argue that, you know, freedoms and yeah, I don't know.
Okay, no, I'm more of a proponent for, you know, continuing to I wouldn't say the word push, but promote getting vaccinated. I'm for that effort rather than telling people, okay, you don't have to get vaccinated if you don't want to. I don't want that as the message. I should be like, you should get vaccinated if you haven't. But making it a mandate, you know, I'll put the link in the description in the video eventually when this is done. But her proponent is the fact of what the vaccination is, and you're right. It's so based on what you just described. The hospitalizations are all a bunch of people, mostly, or if not all, a bunch of people who aren't vaccinated because they're suffering from severe symptoms. So does that mean that those who did get vaccinated are still getting maybe Delta or original COVID? They're not suffering enough symptoms to get tested or to go to hospitals, maybe? Is like, are we assuming that?
Yeah, because people are still getting it.
Yeah, given the numbers that are coming out of the hospital, that you can sort of assume that, right? Like, well, people who are vaccinated either are feeling well enough, like their symptoms are, if they do test positive or whatever, or even if they don't even test at all, their symptoms are mild or mild enough that they don't need to go to the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah. So her points were it does nothing to prevent transmission. And its effectiveness or efficacy is only really in the lungs, but it doesn't prevent symptoms in the nose or the throat, or like the virus inhabiting and I think like attacking the nose and the throat. And even the Delta's worse. And the original vaccine that everyone's been pushing since, I think, what was the earliest you can get your first shot? Anyone know? Like earlier this year? So like we're August now, almost September. So that's technically last year's vaccine. It's already mutated a bunch of times. So is it even, you know, it's like telling people to get the flu shot from last year if you didn't get it. Do you think that's a fair analogy? It's like, let's say a bunch of people were getting the flu this year. You should get last year's flu shot. Well, no, it's not even the last year's flu anymore. It's this year's flu. So
yeah, but if the flu was like putting people in the ICU and overloading the healthcare system, like it'd be a massive surge in people that were getting the flu shot now. You know? Because it's like it goes back to Mike's point. Like at the end of the day, like we're trying to curb the worst case scenario. All the other things that lead up to that worst case scenario, like the transmissibility and the signs and symptoms, and you know the infection rate and all that stuff, like you can still deal with that. Once you can't breathe in the ICU, that's like the red zone that we're just like trying to stay out of, because then it just is a bad situation, you know. I think what we're seeing now is like the shit that's happening in the red zone, like people that are unvaccinated, you know. That's happening too. So all of those points are valid. like okay, it's like mutated, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, like that one benchmark that we need to like stay above, are we still okay there? If I'm double vaccinated, yeah, I'm still okay. Like I don't need to be on a ventilator, you know?
Mhm.
So
So, again, frontline workers flying out in and out of the country. I get the travel part. Like the whole passport made sense to me. You definitely don't want to bring it in from another country. You don't want to take it to another country. That makes sense to me. But like now here we are in like micro sizes of like cities or even companies, and I guess that's the direction. It's going to be a thing where a boss can not even just request it, but demand it of an employee, and it could potentially become rules for termination, right? And yeah, the greater good, because it's not even the greater good of protecting the office. Like if you think about everyone going into the office, if they're all vaccinated or they're not, the transmission, according to statistics, I guess, is going to be the same. The chance of transmission is the same, whether or not they're all vaccinated or not. What it's actually going to do is it's just that if the company with a whole bunch of vaccinated people are going to take less beds in the ICU versus the company who doesn't have all those vaccinations, and they're all of them can still get sick the same
but
amount,
okay,
right?
that's a good point you just brought up, because I was gonna tie it into, okay, so say I get COVID, I'm vaccinated. All right, I get COVID. Worst case scenario, I have to be off work for 14 days until my isolation is done,
Right.
and cost the money 14 days of labor. Cool. Unvaccinated and I get COVID, I gotta do my 14 days of isolation. But I could be really fucked up in those 14 days. Those 14 days might extend to a month or 2 months.
Yeah.
I'm costing the company 2 months of labor.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, I was just thinking too while you were making your point. Like it's like a trickle down effect. Like it's the healthcare administrators like declare that, yo, this is like really, really bad. Okay, like the people that run companies now have to be like, okay, want to stay within the healthcare guidelines, and we also want to like not lose money on like um, possible man hours, right? So it's like, let's get everybody vaccinated, so at least even if people get sick, worst
They
case
can kind
scenario,
of
they're gone
bounce
for
back.
14 days. Yeah, and they can kind of bounce back as opposed to like, oh, you're off work for like 3 months, you know?
Day says if workplace starts mandating it for going back to work, there's gonna be riots.
It's happening though. It's happening here.
So do you know who? Like who's mandating it so far?
Here in
Yeah.
Canada,
I want to say
Yeah,
the
like
ministry.
what lines of work? Government?
UHN. I heard UHN does it.
Okay.
So
Universal
these
Health
are
Network?
companies. It's not the It's not the government. It's the companies or the right. UHN's not part of the government, is it? It's a network. It's a like
Is
an
that
organization.
University
University Health Network.
Health Network?
Yeah.
Who is mandating it? Like I get the company itself, it's private. There's going to be Okay, here's okay. A personal example, which I thought made sense the first time I was asked. So we're getting clients that are asking now. I'm a photographer. I shoot weddings, and we booked a wedding coming up, and they're like, "Are you guys vaccinated?" Like, I don't mind being asked or not. I don't think it's a secret. I'm not gonna like broadcast it and have it on my resume or put it on my Facebook profile. But if someone asks me, I'd be fine to say, yeah, yeah. And if I wasn't, I'd have to say that I wasn't. But for let's say a potential client or a potential customer to be able to make that request to get a vendor, I thought, what does it do for them if all protection wise is it's protecting me, not them? Like if they hire me to shoot their wedding or their event and I'm not vaccinated, the person at risk is me, not not them. If they're all vaccinated, they're fine, right? I'm the one at risk, right?
I mean, it's like a liability. Like, so weird. Now that I've gotten into management, I just look at everything from like the organizational standpoint.
Yeah, trying to
Um,
protect your butt.
yeah, it's
That's what
like a
it's all about.
liability issue. Like that goes back to like the whole thing about it was us that was talking about the windows on high ceilings, right? Or high towers or whatever.
Oh
We
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
that?
yeah, 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 yeah. When we were talking about the
So it's
tallest
like
buildings, tallest towers in the world.
it's like they just have to at some point that just becomes like standard now. It's like everyone a high. It's like when you cater food, you have to account for people that are like gluten intolerant and all that shit, or they could like fucking sue you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so at some point it's like gotta make sure the vendor is vaccinated, so just in case one of these motherfucking guests gets COVID, they can't say, "Oh, I was at this wedding and one of the people was unvaccinated, and I'm suing you." So I think a bunch of that goes into it as well. Even past the health protection and all of that stuff. So
Dede wrote here, because they think if you're not vaccinated, you're prone to COVID and spread. So Dede, you're right, they think that, but that's false. Like, if I'm vaccinated or not, I'm still prone to COVID and spread. All of us are. The only thing that the vaccination actually does is allow us to, if we do catch it, to have less severe symptoms, so we would have a higher chance of survival. It doesn't do anything in terms of me going somewhere to some crazy rave or party or whatever and catching it. I don't even know how people are still catching it. How are people catching it, man? Like, I don't get it. Why are numbers going up? Yes,
I mean,
false, but
like,
that's what general public think because CDC didn't educate properly. Okay, I wanted to know about that too. I was gonna ask guys if you know more than because I don't. My friend who shared that link with me said she thinks it isn't right that the government isn't doing more to educate the public about what this vaccination really entails because one, they found out too later on that some of these mRNA vaccines cause inflammation in the heart. So if you have an existing heart condition, you are going to likely have more severe reactions to the vaccination that could be more lethal to you than COVID could have been if you didn't take the vax. We've heard from certain people that elderly relatives who got the vax, some of them did get a heart attack after or died from it. And so the thing is, like, I don't know anywhere that I've seen. Again, I don't watch a lot of TV, I don't listen to a lot of radio. I do base a lot of the information on what I see on social media, which I also fact check, or I don't want to like I don't just believe everything that I see on social media, but that social media generally is my source of info. But nowhere have I seen anywhere where it said the vaccine was preventing people from getting sick. Like I've not read that anywhere. So I don't understand why the general public seems to think that the vaccine does prevent you from getting sick. Why do people believe that? But before vaccinations, they go through the questions and information pamphlets. So really, it's not people's fault for thinking it. It's not people's fault for thinking.
Like, people are stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
people generally as like a mass thinking unit are the IQ level is generally very, very low, because that's actually a very nuanced thing. It's like, yeah, there's still a possibility, I could get COVID. It's just I won't get as sick from it. But I guess people just think, yeah, I just won't get COVID.
Actually, that's a good point. Even sorry, I was reading the chat.
No, but
sorry.
yeah, that's I think that is it, actually.
Okay, we've all gone in, right? Did you guys do Shoppers? I went to a Shoppers. What about you guys?
I went to Trillium Hospital.
Okay. When you went in, did you get an information sheet of any sort?
I did. There's because you make a couple stops before you actually get the shot, so there's a whole bunch of boards and shit, and you meet people, and the nurse at the booth will like read you all this information and shit. So like, yeah.
See, I went in. Sure, I think once you go on Shopper's website and you go, obviously you go to government website /COVID, all the info is probably there if you wanted to look it up. I didn't read that. I mean, I based it off what everyone else who already got vaxxed told me and what I, taken as information from family, friends, online. So Day saying that he didn't get any pamphlets when he went in. All he did was he was told to sit there, sign this paper that said big red font, "This is not FDA approved," and he signed it. I went in and I had a questionnaire that just told me to write down my health card information, and then like 18 questions where all of my answers need to be no, like if I've been in contact with anyone, if I had any symptoms, do I have any like chronic diseases, or do I have any autoimmune deficiencies, and all this stuff. Am I expecting to have a kid, or do I want a baby soon? So a bunch of no, and then you can get the shot. Then and then when I was at the table across from the pharmacist, they basically just said, all right, so you might suffer from these symptoms, you can't get your second shot until 21 days or 28 days later, blah blah blah. Never was anyone in this exchange between me and Shoppers Drug Mart Pharmacy, they didn't tell me anything about what this vaccine does. Should they have been like, all right, just so you know, when you get this vaccine, it doesn't mean you won't get COVID. It doesn't mean that you are protected from catching it from somebody. All it means is you're gonna have less likely severe symptoms if you do get it. No one ever said that to me in the pharmacies. And like, is that something they should be saying to everybody before they get these shots? Information is available just because social media is instant, so people use that as a good source. Go ahead.
That's a good point to bring up. I guess what I'll say about that is, in the beginning, these vaccines were like heavily regulated because there were so few of them. At that point, it's like at every step, I'm positive like whoever was getting the shot was getting adequate amount of information from whoever was giving it. But at some point, like there was like a vaccination boom, and suddenly like there are clinics popping up everywhere. There's more access, more people, within like lesser age ranges were able to get them. So I feel like with that expansion and that what's it called, exponential availability, there probably was a what's the word, like a relatively like similar shrinkage of just passing information along, like because like now you start like your vendors start spreading out, so maybe everyone doesn't have exactly the right policy of like informing the person getting the shot, hey, you have to this and this and this. Maybe their priority is just being like, hey,
distribute,
you have 50
right?
shots
in
between this and this time, get your shot, and they have a fucking line around the corner with like hundreds of people, so it's like at some point some of that probably got lost in the which happens, right? Which happens like with any company. Like once you're starting a company, you got 10 clients, so every client is like super important. But as you expand, like you have like different businesses everywhere, like some of the shit falls through the cracks. So yes, you are right in the sense that should still be like a standard, because when you get your flu shot, right, they always say, hey, are you allergic to eggs, blah 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 blah. Like there's like a standardized sheet that questions that everyone gets. So at some point they should have like a standard with like the COVID vaccinations. But yeah, I think that was just a factor of like shit blowing up as well.
Do you if you guys aren't comfortable talking about it, or that's totally cool, but I want to open up the question. I gotta go get something too. But before you got it, because I know you guys are generally considered frontline workers, how much did you know about what it actually did before you decided to get it? Did any of that information about its limitations change your attitude towards getting it at all? And like, did it make you hesitate at once you found out that it wasn't even that efficient in, or that once I'm gonna assume we all knew that this vax was not gonna make us immune. I think herd immunity was a term that was thrown around a lot, where everyone was like, yeah, we're waiting for herd immunity, but eventually if enough people aren't getting it, and then you have like this dormancy for a while, and then the whole world kind of like somehow, I don't know, over time and numbers, you could eradicate this virus if enough people just don't spread it. If you just don't spread it, just that's what the whole social distancing was about, right? But then eventually the economy was like crashing, people are losing their minds, so we had to start opening things up, and now people are getting it again. Like, social distancing is kind of, we're not even doing the 6 foot. The 6 foot thing isn't even mandated anymore. It was never really mandated, but like, so yeah, I was wondering, you guys were one of the earlier ones. Knowing what its limitations were, did it cause any sort of hesitation to get the shot? Or did you feel like you were doing yourself a favor, or you doing the world a favor? Because it feels like it's very micro. Like, its purpose is to help you. Yet, why are all these companies and why are all these customers and all these people so adamant and like, yo, I will only serve you in my store if you have the vaccination? Well, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't protect you. It protects, you know what I'm saying? I'll be right back.
I'm just trying to read what Data is typing here, but this is COVID, a freaking pandemic. Should look at this up, and I can tell people what the vaccine does. I mean, I got like some information throughout. Like, I mean, we would get all the updated memos and stuff. So, yeah, even with all that information, I was like, yeah, let me just get this thing, because.
Did it feel like pressure, or did it feel like, man, I'm making an informed decision?
I actually didn't want to get it at first for the same reasons as everyone else, but then when I had more information, that's when I was like, oh, okay, I'll get this. You know? So it helped. It actually helped me make the decision to get it.
So I'll admit, I was trying to hold off. I was like, I'm always home. I'm not working very much because it's killed, you know, the event industry for a while. Like, we couldn't have weddings and bar mitzvahs and, you know, events that I can actually photograph. So if I'm home all the time, I'm barely like meeting up with anybody. And if I do meet up with someone, I social distance. We don't do the whole like handshake thing any whatever. So it's like, okay, I don't need to get it. I'm gonna hold off and wait. And I was hoping that I could wait for herd immunity. And then I found out I was getting more and more gigs at the end of August. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be working a lot. And these are gonna be parties again with 50, 60 plus people. It's gonna be enclosed, not an enclosed like indoor space, but it's gonna be a congested space, right? I should do myself a favor and get the vax to protect me. I didn't do it so that I could shoot those events. Those events were gonna happen anyway. I did it because I know I'm gonna be around, surrounded by people, and I don't want to get sick. Or, well, yeah, I don't want to get sick thinking it was going to keep me from getting sick, but I really did know that it's not going to keep me from getting sick. But if I do get sick, I won't die, or have a less likely chance of dying, right? That's what it's for.
That was like, your rationale.
Yeah, so it was like, yeah, I was like, I should have some peace of mind that I'll be okay. If I'm going to go into these situations where I'm going to perhaps, you know, make myself susceptible to catching it, so I should be prepared. So that's why I got the vax.
So at any point did you realize you could potentially be, I'm sure you did realize, but at what point when you realized you could potentially be losing work if you weren't vaccinated? How far removed was that from when you got it?
I didn't think that it would keep me from, well, I thought eventually it would be a thing, like where customers would request it. But again, that's based off wrong information. I don't understand why that would even be a factor. Why would anyone want me to get it for them? Because it does nothing for them, right? It's for me. That's my thing. Like, I understand why the government might want to mandate it, because like they don't want the healthcare system to be what's the word, like overpopulated. They don't want to be overwhelmed, right? They want to be able to keep the numbers manageable. So I get why the government would want it. I get why hospitals would want it. You know, all their frontline workers in the hospital. But like, I thought, yeah, all the teachers should get it. But it's not. The teachers aren't getting. The teachers getting it do nothing for the students, right?
Let me just fix this 1 sec.
I
mean,
You know what I would say about that is, let's say, like, if we as people who are vaccinated, even if we get it, there is a chance that we can spread it. But if the majority of the people who are fully vaccinated either are asymptomatic or their symptoms are really mild, wouldn't it, like, I don't know if there are any papers or, you know, scientific research, wouldn't it make sense that they wouldn't spread it as much as people who are not vaccinated and getting sick? Because if you're asymptomatic, like, how does this virus spread? So from my understanding, this virus spreads through droplet or aerosols, right? So if you're not coughing up a storm because you're asymptomatic, or you're not, you know, if you're not releasing the virus in other ways as much as people who are getting sick from, you know, not being vaccinated,
that makes sense.
Make sense?
That makes sense.
But, you know, there's I don't know, there's no proof of that.
I think.
But
Well, if you're, let's say, asymptomatic, you go to a club and start making out with people, start sharing your drink, start sharing your spliff, start sharing.
Yeah,
your
but you don't do
cigarette.
that. Yeah, you don't do that when you're a teacher, or you know, you don't do that when you're a teacher or when you're at work.
I agree with Dan there. Dan says, I feel like people who get the vaccine are likely to follow more protocols and caution in general. I agree. If you're well informed enough as an individual to get the vax, it's more of like a responsible decision to get it. You're gonna probably also make the responsible choices in regular day protocol, like COVID protocol. Anti-vaxxers, I can see not giving a shit about wearing masks. If you're anti-vax, you're likely anti-mask too, right?
Of course.
I'm still gonna wear masks, even though I'm vaxxed, because yeah, these places are tight. But sometimes it's really hard. Actually, I'm lying. I took a risk there. I shot an event. It was very congested. It was like one of the hottest days of the summer. I could not wear my mask, so I didn't wear a mask. It's probably irresponsible.
Yeah, I think what a lot of people are just like, there is a concern. There is a concerning like element that is like, we could just prevent you from working just due to some like national or like security purpose, you know, like it doesn't necessarily, like there could be a slippery slope, or it doesn't necessarily have to be like a healthcare reason. You know, I think that's what like people are worried about happening, which is a legitimate concern, because yeah, last year they basically just told us, yeah, we're taking your shit away, like you can't work, like you have to be at home. So I think that like a lot of people are still recovering from that, right? And then now to say, okay, yeah, like you can't work unless you get this vaccine, like no, like you actually can't work. You know, it's like, okay, what's next? You know? So yeah, that's concerning.
Yeah, but they're like two different things, right? Like the people who are against vaccinations or like anti-vax or whatever, they're more focused on like their right to freedom, or you know what I mean? And people who are getting vaccinated are people who are concerned about
Others.
like Yeah.
I mean,
well,
I guess I'm more speaking from like like a more like objective point of view, because that falls on both sides of that coin, because you could get vaccinated and be like, okay, I gotta follow my policies and prevent transmission, but man, this is kind of like worrisome. Like they can just prevent me
yeah.
from working if I don't want to get vaxxed. That's
Yeah, that's
crazy.
true. Yeah, that's true.
So
Like what if you're a nurse and you're pregnant and you're worried about the vaccine because I don't know, you don't know the long-term effects on no one knows what'll happen to your baby if you take
Yeah.
the vaccine, right?
Yeah.
There's no proof of that. There's no long-term. But on the flip side, there like how are you going to wait 5 years of this pandemic to find out what the effects are? Yeah,
it's tricky, man.
It's it's hard to.
No,
It's like we got to pick the lesser of two evils.
my sister had a COVID baby.
Yeah.
She's a frontline worker. And she was holding off as long as possible because they didn't know if, it affects breastfeeding. Like, obviously the baby, they had to have some threshold of comfort for finally getting it, because, and apparently too, the mother can now pass on antibodies through breast milk. Who knows how long that study's been, but that
Yo, just write this real quick.
Right? Like, how do you really know with such a short testing period? Although I don't even know the validity of the statement where people are like, mRNA is very new technology. It's like it's brand new and it hasn't been tested. And then I hear from other people, the other side, oh, they've been testing mRNA technology for 10 years or something like that, right? Isn't that like knowledge somewhere, or is that misinformation too?
Like I did learn about it. I've heard about it in university, which is 10. Oh my god, that's so long ago. Fuck. But in some of my classes, I did hear about it, and I thought the concept was really great. And to see it come about now, like it's awesome. To me, it's awesome. Like as a tech science thing, like it's amazing how far we've gotten. So it's not a new thing where last year they figured out, oh, I think this is something we could do. Let's try it out and then send it to the and then just try it out on the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to okay, so there is, I guess, historical evidence of people in healthcare and government like fucking over people. But I want to believe at the end of the day, like we have to be able to trust like modern medicine. Like we've pretty much we've eradicated some, we got rid of polio, like we figured some shit out. So we should still have some faith in the healthcare system. Like at the end of the day, like just want to keep everybody healthy. So I think when people now feel like, okay, like I want to be healthy, but now like you're like making me do shit that I don't want to do, that's when like the clash between like personal freedoms and like the greater good start to,
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's I don't know.
To me, the craziest thing about this virus is it fits into this zone where it's like not deadly enough to worry people enough to
Yo, son.
but like, deadly enough where it can really affect the world. It's like it fits in that zone, that like perfect area where it could really screw over the world, like
right,
screw over things. Like if this was like a virus that killed more people and was more severe,
Bruh,
we wouldn't be talking about this right
dude.
now.
If this virus, same, let's just say everything else the same, but it also like messed up your face, like somehow it kind of caused some sort of, well, even sort of some deformation, maybe like your eyes start to, you create dark under circles and you get more wrinkles or something like that kind of like
You get like a COVID mark, like.
Well, I'm just saying,
oh, you had the vid.
I'm just saying, like people are more likely to care if their physical image, if their like aesthetic was affected, than this respiratory thing that they could probably survive, or they could take a chance with, because it's, if you can't see it, right? It's like,
yeah, true. That's true.
Yeah.
like this world is more concerned about the the Instagram image than your
That's
physical health.
actually a really good point. Like we've all just like heard news and heard reports of like people dying from COVID, people dying on respirators, but like for the most part, the general public hasn't really like seen physical evidence of like how bad COVID is, like
Yeah,
on their
firsthand.
screen, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's like,
well,
yeah, like if it
you got those like emergency ER rooms in Italy where the camera
Yeah.
guys were showing all these people on ventilators. That was the scariest
Yeah.
it looked.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But we weren't there, right? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
true,
still
true.
detached from us or even
North
like the general
America?
public. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Mhm.
oh,
It was
Italy
like-
had it bad, but that's not us because we're here.
Right.
if you had
Or it's like
would
they
you
say the numbers, they say the numbers are this and that, but how do you really know?
yeah.
Dede, you said. Okay, so Dede had like a little story there about the guy at the gym. He got vaxxed and he went in the gym and this guy asked why Dede's still wearing a mask. And then Dede's like, because I
Damn business.
and he's like, because I could choose to and none of your business. He shook his head and walked away. And then Dede wrote, how much you want to bet that guy thought he was 100% proof against COVID because of that CDC announcement? Does anyone know what the CDC announcement was? What is the CDC announcement that Dede is talking about?
Is that like today?
No. It must have been early with the vax. Dede, if you can tell me what was the CDC announcement?
The announcement to not have masks. Is that it? To not
Because
have
of the-
masks
Oh,
if you're fully vaccinated.
if you vaccinated, no need for mask. Okay, yeah. What's up with that? Why did CDC do that then? When obviously the vax does nothing for masks.
Well, I don't know. You know what? We're
Because
going
they're
on an
retarded.
assumption. We're going on an assumption of watching a YouTube video, right? Like let's look up CDC and go straight to the source.
Man,
Maybe
that
they have-
bubble tea.
Oh,
looks tasty.
no,
Is that bubble
but-
tea?
This is it's like a smoothie, but yes, it's bubble tea. Okay. I remember seeing after the vax was finally released and it was starting to be distributed, there was like this thing that spread on social media that was being spread by anti-vaxxers. They're like, it was like a brief point form questionnaire for the government. Does the vaccination prevent you from getting COVID? No. Does the vaccination ensure that you will 100% survive COVID? No. And like basically all these scenarios about the vaccination, like, and all the answers were no. The government could not guarantee any sort of like 100% guarantee that this vax was going to do anything. And I was like, well, yeah, that's not nothing. The government can never say 100% certainty to anything.
Yeah,
right?
like that's
So that thing
It's a
spread
loaded
though.
question.
That thing spread to anti-vaxxers everywhere, and they're like, "See, it
Stupid.
doesn't even work. Why are they pushing it so much?
God.
Like, it's like, whatever." It's like, so it's a probability game.
everything's a probability game though. Like literally, like like I can't even say I'm 100% positive I'm gonna walk out tomorrow and there's not gonna be an earthquake. Like there's never been a recorded earthquake here, but I can't 100% guarantee that that's not gonna happen. Maybe 99 point infinite nines, but that 0 or whatever the fuck 1% is like it could still just randomly happen. So it's like the government can't just
it
if you
can't
get
be
this
absolute.
vaccine- Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
no,
it's not
yeah,
absolute.
nothing the government can say anything about anything can be backed 100% that this is a sure thing. So Dan said, I feel the no need for mask thought is even if you do get even if you do get COVID, you are less likely to be another bed in the ICU. You can go home and self-isolate, likely get better. So that's what they're saying in the states, various states. After you're vaxxed, you didn't have to wear the mask anymore. I still think I don't know. I don't know if that was the right move because it's basically saying, oh, you got vaxxed, you have a higher likelihood of surviving it. Okay, fine. We'll let you have a higher chance of catching it now by not wearing masks. They announced it, Mike. This isn't from social media.
Yeah, but I'm
CDC
on
plans
CDC.
drop mask requirements. There is no assumption here.
Yeah, but I'm on CDC right now. So July 27 added a recommendation for fully vaccinated people to wear a mask in public indoor settings in areas of substantial or high transmission.
That's the thing too. Like a lot of these things are like
So yeah, wear mask. That says wear mask.
recommendations.
Yeah, it says wear mask. It was probably walked back.
Oh, maybe
I
rather
wanna
than
see.
making it. Well, the thing is, the mask thing was never actually law, right?
No,
You
the
couldn't-
CDC, they only give recommendations.
They only give
No,
recommendations.
yeah, they're not the government. They don't do law. They just.
But all these, like the malls that say you have to wear a mask to be in this mall, that's not a law. You don't. Do you actually get fined if you don't? I know if you travel and you don't wear a mask in the airport or you don't get tested and all that, you can get fined. But yeah, you could just maybe get refused service. You can get refused service. Like going on TTC, do you have to wear a mask? Like, is that a law?
No, but I mean, probably try to get you off that bus.
Well, yeah.
Probably try it, but I don't know if they would like be able to really get you off that bus.
Do you guys think you're asymptomatic?
I mean, I actually like tested positive for COVID at one point, and I didn't like.
Oh,
I don't know. They said it was like a false positive. That was like a weird thing too. There was a bunch of those flying around, the false positives.
yeah.
But I didn't get any symptoms.
Mike, you still reading stuff?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's this picture that they sent. I remember this picture in the news.
Can you send the link in the chat so I can share it?
Of what?
The CDC thing you're looking at. He says
No,
CDC,
it's not CDC.
says
It's Yahoo. I'm on a Yahoo. The thing that
yeah, Day
Day
linked to Yahoo,
posted.
and then he says CDC says fully vaccinated people can stop wearing masks indoors and outdoors. All right. In late April, the CDC said people who are fully vaccinated could forgo masks outdoors, but not in crowded spaces. Okay,
Well, these things change, right? So they clearly walked back on it because it's not on the CDC website.
Okay.
Maybe it happened in April when cases.
Yeah,
May when cases were closed, but July, as of July, whatever.
Right.
It's mass indoors recommended.
Okay. So.
But I think the recommendation was based off the data of that time. So let's say cases are low, and lots of people are vaccinated, so which means the risk is low, so they're going by the low risk. But now that the risk is high, numbers are going up, they probably walked back on it, and they recommend masks indoors. So it's probably just the what they calculate, what they their risk analysis. I don't know.
So what my other friend said, these are some opinions that I'm just gonna say. Okay, so I personally don't think the government does a good job at providing info to people. I don't know, man. If you just go to canada.gov.ca/COVID, I'm pretty sure you get all the information that you need.
Yeah, the information's there. It's just that there's social
you have to
media
look for
is a
it.
really strong thing. Like getting viral and spreading misinformation gets more views than
doing your own look and research, right?
Yeah.
They decided to announce that when it was only around 35% of the population that were vaccinated. People are too lazy to do something to look. Yeah. So, okay. I agree with you guys. So does it fall on the government to... Because I'm hearing it more on... I don't know what I'm hearing it on. If it's like ads in between Spotify or if it's ads between YouTube or whatever it is. It's like, we gotta get together or stay together, and it's pushing everyone should get vaxxed. I see more signs on like TTC and even on the freaking highway while I'm driving on the highway. It's like, get your shot, so there's a lot of quote unquote pressure to get the shot. But like, should these ads or whatever come with like a disclaimer of like, note, this doesn't prevent you from getting COVID, or note, you know, side effects might include, you know.
That's advertising in general, though. Like, like I think of like any ad, like there's gonna always be some like fine print shit that they don't put in the like main advertisement and advertisement, right? Like when you actually go to the company site and read through their terms and stuff, then that's when you really see like, oh, this is what's going on. That's what I gotta do. I mean, yeah, I
Well,
guess.
that's why you like people trust. There's like the general population would have to trust their leaders, right? Their leaders, their doctors, their scientists, or whatever. But clearly, it's not there. Like, not everyone trusts that. So,
Yeah.
obviously, everyone should do their own research. But, just like going to the doctor, you trust that the doctor knows what they're doing, and
Straight
they
up,
should
guys, I didn't
inform
do any
you.
research. I went with groupthink, and I was the last one in my fam. I knew I was gonna travel, and it was like, I'm gonna get it anyway. Might as well get it now. It was one of those like, but do I know what it was actually doing? Also, what I'm telling you guys, I didn't read that for myself on government. This is always information that came from another source, like a third party source, not the source, you know? So, is that credible? Who knows? But I'll probably, if someone asked me, I'd say the same things. I'd say it like I knew it, but I didn't like look up my own source.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like I never once
A
went
lot of
to
people are like that.
Canada.gov.ca/COVID. I never went there.
Yeah. But the link is there. In Instagram, there's links. They give you a link every time
Yeah,
someone talks
every
about
time
COVID.
post
There's a
COVID,
recommended link.
yeah, it's like for more information, swipe up or whatever. Like you click this on stories, you can click it in the freaking posts. It's on Facebook now too. I like that, but no one's gonna click it.
Oh, I clicked it.
I do think though, like, what is that? Because that's an important.
No, because people don't want to read. If it's either
What? I don't get why,
one,
like-
they've already decided they're not getting it, so they're not gonna click it. Two, they already got it, so they don't need to click it. So it's like, it, you know,
Well, it's for the undecided, right? Like, it's
who's
for
on the
people-
fence? Who's really on the fence though?
Yeah, I think like
There must be people
now.
on the fence. Why would they would be in the same position you were, right, FJ? You were on the fence, no?
I wasn't on the fence. I was just holding it off until I knew I had to get it, but I was gonna get it. Like I was hoping for, long shot herd immunity. But what came first was I had to work. So it was like, that's why I got it. Like, or if it was eventually that I had to fly and it was still a mandate, then I wanted to go on my vacation next year, I'd have to get it. But I knew those were the driving factors. If I didn't have to get it at all, I wouldn't have. Like if I just stayed home, I worked home all the time and I continued social distancing and, let's say the world went back to normal and people were dating again and whatever like that, but I didn't get vaxxed, then it'd be like, oh, I'd probably be more inclined to find out about, positive tests or negative tests, and like I should probably get tests from time to time and stuff like that. It's not because I'm anti-vax. Again, it's because I'm just anti-meds in general. Like I don't even like taking Tylenol. I don't even like taking anti-inflammatories and stuff. Like I'd rather just drink a lot of water if I have a headache. I'd rather just drink a lot of water if I'm tired. Like, or rest if I have like a runny nose or a cold. I'd rather rest. That's just me in general. I want my body to handle it naturally. That was just my thing on it.
Okay. Ask you this.
I don't know if that was on the fence.
Ask you two questions. What would you have gotten? Would you have gotten the vaccine right away if rate of death went up by like was like 5% higher?
Probably not.
Would you have gotten it if the rate of death was 5% high? Was
I'm gonna say
10%
probably not to
higher.
all of your scenarios. I'm probably gonna say probably not to all your scenarios, even if you went up to 90%.
No. Well, oh, okay. So I was gonna say 5% higher, and the vaccine was shown to be 100% effective.
At what?
99 transmission checked all the boxes.
So it actually made you immune.
Yeah.
So death rate super high, and it actually made you immune.
Not even that high, but just higher, like a little higher.
Or
And
just
it
even the way
actually-
it is, but it actually said if you got this shot, it will make you immune. It's just
Let's-
like chicken
let's say you're
pox
immune-
and all the
if-
smallpox and stuff, right?
Let's say your immunity level was like 95%, not even 100, like 95%.
Right. See, because that's okay. Not to divert from your question, I'll answer that too. But I think that was another term that was thrown around that was kind of misunderstood. Efficacy rate. You know, I've read some things about like apparently some of these companies didn't fudge their numbers, but used a relative efficacy rate versus real efficacy rate. Did you guys hear about that? Is that fake news?
That makes sense.
Like apparently the real efficacy rate was like under 70%, but they used the relative efficacy rate, which showed 92 or something like that. Maybe it was like 60. I don't even know what those mean, but apparently it was controversy, and this was stuff I read on social media too. Did I care to read more into it? No, I didn't care. Dan has it great there. No one. I'll look up information that is important to me. Everyone else sees first social media post. This is fact. Yeah, that's like generally what happens. People read something on Facebook and share. Look, this is the truth. I hate this fake news stuff. So guys, I understood Hep A, Hep B.
Oh, you didn't answer the question.
Oh, I said no.
But still,
Like if I knew I was gonna be staying home, if I had to go back to work, yes, I would. Like just like now, I ended up getting it because I had to go back to work. I didn't even need 100% efficacy or 95% efficacy. I'm going back to work, so I was like, shoot, there's a higher likelihood that I'm gonna get this. I should get the shot. It gave me like some sort of peace of mind, and it's stupid though because I also have a little bit more peace of mind to like hug people again. When again, I should remind myself. It doesn't prevent me from getting COVID. It just means I can survive it better, right?
so like that's what I mean. Like all of that would be negated if it like we're talking like 95% like 95% positive that you won't even get it. You won't get it at all.
Yeah, I'd probably get that. No, that sounds. If I can
If
go
all
out.
the boxes were ticked.
Yeah, right. Like go back. I can go back to like going to a club, bar, dance, live music, and like dancing like
Chilling.
with random people right up against you. Yeah, I want that. I miss that.
Someone could
Like,
cough in your face.
right.
You'd be like, "That's cool, man."
Like it's like. And it's like yeah, second hand.
Yeah.
And they just give you the flu instead. You're like, yeah, at least I'm not COVID.
It's like, oh damn, I should have got the flu shot too. So is this what we understand, guys? Again, maybe I should just look it up, but I'm just asking you guys. That video of that lady said a point of a vax isn't to give you immunity. It's just so that if you get it, it gives you a higher chance of survival. So is that the case with Hep A, Hep B, smallpox, chickenpox, all that stuff? We can still get.
Sorry, before I guess I should have said a cure. Like if there was a cure,
Right.
then
Right.
we'd get the cure.
Well, cure
Well,
is if,
a cure is
you're-
if you
you're
have it.
actually sick. Yeah.
Yeah, if you have it, that's the cure. A preventative thing is like.
If it was
that's
like a
something
2-in-1.
else. A
It's like the
2-in-1.
cure, and
Does
and
that
once
even-
you get it, you can't even get it.
Does that exist for anything? Can we take anything right now that prevents us from getting something? What's the tetanus thing?
Birth control.
Is that tetanus? Birth control is not even 100% though.
There's no
But
100% in anything.
But yeah, it's the 95
Well,
is pretty good.
there
Birth
is-
control is like 90 what?
Celibacy is 100%.
Unless you're the Virgin Mary.
Unless
man.
you're immaculate
It's not
conception.
100. It's not 100%, man.
What?
Yeah, like birth control is
Celibacy?
pretty.
Yeah, you can be like injected with like sperm and stuff. That's not 100%.
True. In vitro.
In
In vitro,
vitro.
yeah, you can't. There's no, only Sith deal with in absolutes, right? Like Ren said.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
not a cure,
besides
but
birth control isn't a disease though. Birth or getting
eh,
conceived isn't a disease.
eh.
What can we take that actually prevents us from getting something? Is that the tetanus? Like, where did we
Hey,
get
Ren,
tetanus
what's
again?
up?
Yo, Ren's here too. Nice, nice. Tetanus is so you don't get jaundice, right, or something? Or
What?
no,
Tetanus
no,
is
lockjaw. What is that?
yeah. It's when you like lock up and shit. I think
Yeah, what is that? It's not
that's
jaundice. I'm
tetanus.
sorry.
So you can get tetanus from like
A cut with the
rusty
rusty
metal.
nails, right?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know why I said
Only a Sith Lord deals in absolutes.
Lockjaw.
That's the quote.
only a Sith Lord. Uh, right. So, having said all that, should companies continue to be able to like make it a reason for termination?
Yeah, that's a different.
Let's say the government. Okay, okay, the government can't make it. See, she's trying to pass a bill to prevent the government from passing a bill, but the government's not even trying to pass a bill. FJ, feel free to talk about that post in Discord. Oh yeah, I did see that today. So guys, I'm gonna show this photo. How do I? Frick! I just have to move this over. All right. So many twins at the top. The FDA head between 2017 and 2019 is the same head as Pfizer 2019 to present. Dede, I think like this would be a bigger controversy if it was the other way around, wouldn't it?
No, that just means he might have connections still.
Well, apparently, well, yeah, they're saying that Pfizer was the first approved, like, official vax. I don't know. It says one of the main board members in Pfizer,
The one I got.
head of FDA, previous years. So, I don't know.
It's crazy, man.
So
feel
you
like
think
behind
you think his affiliations with FDA in the past is why Pfizer is that what you're saying? Is that the controversy there? That his close-knit ties with the FDA
might
in the
affect,
past has affected Pfizer's push and rollout? Of course. Well, let me think first. Oh, sorry, Deji, you were gonna say something.
I mean, that doesn't mean that the vaccine doesn't work.
Yeah,
it just means this guy. There's a potential that he rushed passing this in the FDA.
Yeah, like the people at the top, they're gonna do their fuck shit. Like, they're gonna do their like weird shit, right? Just want to hope and pray that at the end of the day, they don't want to kill everybody. Like, they still want all of us to be okay. Like, maybe they just want to make some more money, do whatever they got to do. But it's still relatively backed up by like solid, like for the most part, solid science. They're like, okay, well, let's see how we can flip this and like still like our shit. That makes sense.
Well,
It's like
which one?
It's like how the what is it? The Democrats and Republicans pretend like they hate each other, but apparently they all like fucking go to the same country club and shit.
What was that term?
For appearances.
What's that term again? Where like inflammation of the heart? Myocarditis. Myocarditis is the list of side effects. That's okay.
like-
So is that for both mRNA, for both Pfizer and Moderna? Like, Kyle, did you know that? I know you just got here, and we had a kind of discussion in the past that inflammation of the heart is now a side effect listed for some of these vax. No, Dede, I know what you mean, like, for sure, like, coincidence, right? Or it's the same field, it kind of makes sense. He just made, like, a transition. Like, Kyle, if you knew that myocarditis was a listed side effect, like, official listed side effect for this, would have been a very different kind of... I believe there are a bunch of negative side effects.
Yo, like,
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, the other thing you mentioned, how, you know, after getting the vaccine, someone you knew suffered was it a stroke or a heart attack?
oh shit.
Not you, Kyle, not for you specifically. Oh, it was stroke. Okay. That's to the brain, right?
Yes, sir.
Strokes to the brain.
Yeah.
Heart,
And that's
not enough oxygen to the brain? Is that what a stroke is? Not enough blood to the brain.
yeah, blood clot.
Blood, okay.
Like side effects aren't like a new thing though. Like,
Well, given the side effects, you could still weigh out the risks and benefits.
yeah, like the lesser of two evils thing, because we can't deal in absolutes anymore.
Peace out,
Like,
Dede.
like it's like what's worse, you know? Because yeah, man, side effects aren't a new thing. Like, have you seen a medication ad?
Yeah.
Side effects include diarrhea, hair loss, blindness, possible death.
Yeah,
It's like
that's true.
we're like, oh man, do I
That's the best one.
like fam, like it's like, but do I still want to pop this Viagra pill? Fuck it,
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
I want my hair to grow back. It's worth it.
You know?
See, because it's an aesthetic, physical thing. People are willing to take risks for that, man. Yeah, the skin thing. Imagine like COVID caused this skin thing. People would have done it. People are paying lots of money for not even FDA approved, like total like bogus claims. Like you set up a website and you claim that this thing like cures vitiligo. People are paying hundreds of dollars for that thing, even though there's no scientific evidence. It's ridiculous. No trials, nothing.
Man, people
Because-
are nuts.
Well, people are vain.
Man.
I don't know.
Fucking,
How do you okay, obviously all this advertisements and this pushing of to get more and more people vaxxed, they're targeting people who aren't vaxxed, who are likely resistant to vaccinations. What do you think is the most effective way to reach these people? I think incentives. Dude, I signed up for this thing. I forget what it is. It was on Twitter. If you are double vaxxed or single vaxxed and have your second vax scheduled by September 9, you have a chance to win a prize of like up to $1,000 or something like that. Like there's like a draw. And I was like, all right, well, I got it, or I got my shots already. There. I've been taking like some surveys too, you know, on my off time, and a lot of them are like COVID related, and they're saying like, you know, would you get vaxxed if, you know, you offered a monetary reward? Would you get vaxxed if your business allowed you to take time leave to get vaxxed? Would you get vaxxed if, I don't know, there's like some sort of tax break, things like that? And I think, yeah, all of the above. If there was some sort of monetary reward for getting vaxxed, I would do it. 'Cause
Yeah.
how else are you gonna
Yeah.
convince these people? It has nothing to. They don't care about their health, because they're not gonna believe anything health-wise at this point. They've been resistant so long.
I think those people still fall under the broad category of like you just need like like you said, like an incentive or just like a reason. I think question is now, how do we convince people that aren't moved by money? It's like it's not a health reason. It's like, no, I don't want this vaccination. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Kyle just said
there
it
will
there.
always be.
It's sus. If they start offering rewards, it'd be like, what?
Yeah, that won't work because the last people are the people who don't trust, who just don't trust.
So how do you get them?
They don't trust it.
Government mandate.
Government mandate. Yo.
Risk of termination. Yeah, you basically force them.
This? You can't work. Hi.
Can't time for long-term effects will only show in years' time. Hopefully, it's all good. Well, I mean, okay. Obviously, if I still wasn't vaxxed, I'd have probably a very different stance right now, or I'd probably struggle with this more. You know, I'd try to think more about my future, like the kind of work I do and stuff, right? Like,
not vaxxed, you can't leave your house. How about that?
Like, if you think
it's
about
just a roundabout way to mandate a vaccine.
You're not vaxxed, you gotta wear a tracker. How about that?
So, guys, do you think should everyone get vaxxed?
Should everyone get vaccinated?
Yes. It's a simple question.
Everyone who can should get vaccinated.
Everyone who can. Okay, yeah. Okay.
You weigh the risk and benefits. So for me, if I was pregnant, I would not want to get vaccinated. If I was pregnant, but I'm not. I'll never get pregnant.
Why is that? Is there like science stuff behind that?
Well, because then you're bringing in, like, for me, like, if I get, it's just me. If I get sick or if I suffer long-term consequences, I weighed the risks on myself, right? But once I bring in like this other life that's in me that I am responsible for, right? If I was pregnant,
right?
Then that brings in a whole new thing, you know. So I.
But if you were pregnant, you would still do the full schedule of vaccines that come after.
After, yeah.
Okay, because those ones have like longevity of like time. Okay, yeah, okay. Because this is too experimental, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I think another thing too is like I wonder if like the vaccine came out like in like 2 years, those numbers would be like way higher. Because then people would be like, okay, they took their time. I think like the speed of it, like a lot, like that factored into like why a lot of people are like, eh.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
It feels
the
like
technology is 10 years old,
people
but
believe
actual COVID, the COVID vax is new. Yes, that was rushed. Yes, of course. They said there were still human trials. Who knows how long that took? mRNA technology, I get that, 10 years old, but mRNA technology for COVID, that's brand new and rushed. I get that for sure. My friend who is pregnant got her 3rd shot. Ooh. He's worried, but what can I say? Okay. 3rd shot. Boosters. Guys, this is going to be an annual thing. Just look at it. If you got Delta this year, right? We had I don't even know what they were, the variants within the first 6 months. But it's been over
Gamma, Delta, there's a Lambda.
So there was Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. Delta, and no, there's Gamma now too?
Gamma was before Delta, and there's a Lambda out. So the Lambda falls under, there's variants of concern, which are like the 4, the Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta.
Right.
And there's variants of interest, and one of them is called Lambda, but apparently that's like mutating right now.
Okay.
Peru.
Okay, so it's still mutating, just like any kind of virus that's an annual shot, like the flu. It mutates every year. It gets stronger every year. Just like if you take antibacterial soap and you keep washing with antibacterial soap, you're just making the bacteria stronger or whatever. Like those, you know, they're finding ways to beat that soap too, and they're getting stronger. And, you know, it was in that video, I don't know, Day said too, he also saw it somewhere where you know, if you continue getting vaccines like the flu shot and you finally do get sick with the flu, it's like you're gonna be in worse shape, right? Something like that. Mike, do you remember that from the video?
I remember that for the video. I'd like to see proof of that.
We don't know if it's true. Okay. Okay.
I'd like to see proof of that.
So Kyle just said, if this becomes a yearly thing, I will not take it. How can they make a yearly thing like mandatory for flying international? Hey Dan, good timing, man. I should open a
happy
drink.
birthday, man.
Thanks guys.
Go
All right,
shit,
peace
sir.
out, Dan. Have a good night.
Deji.
See y'all tomorrow. If you guys come out. Yeah. Kyle. Like, we got it because we want to travel. We want to fly. Well, I mean, you got it because you're fam too. But if it becomes yearly, you won't. So what changes there though? Like, the concerns are still there. Like the objectives are still there to protect people. Yeah, what are they gonna like? How, man, guys?
It's gonna be another flu shot.
It's gonna be annual. Yeah, but then the flu shots is optional. They don't even push the flu shot like that. You know, they're gonna be pushing this all year. All year on the highway when you're driving, you're gonna see all those signs say "Get your shot." How does it?
Yeah,
make
we'll
you
see what
better at
happens,
fighting?
man. We'll see
doesn't-
what happens.
It doesn't make you better at fighting it at all. None of these shots ever do. It just means if you get sick, you just won't suffer as much.
Less
Anyway.
likely able to get hospitalized.
So the flu shot people take every year. That's one thing. Oh man, I remember hearing that. They're like, all these years I didn't get the flu shot, I never got sick. The one year I got the flu shot, that was the year I got the flu. So it's like, well, isn't that a good thing? Wasn't that good odds that the 1 year that you did get it is when, you know, like that means that you had a stronger resistance to it because you did get the shot that year. All right, but I already have the 2 shots. 2 shots don't keep you from getting it. 2 shots were there supposed to keep you from dying if you do get it.
I'd be so curious to see like what the world would have been like if this shit was like just like had an extra 0 on the percentage of like the death rate.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it would be
So
like SARS.
curious.
It'd be over by now. People would die before they could spread it. But
Yeah, man, fuck.
If it was like Ebola.
yeah, that's why if it's too deadly, it won't spread like it does now. It just fits so well to. Yeah.
No,
But
so
yeah, if it was deadly, maybe like if you have like no symptoms and you can spread it within like 2-3 weeks, and there's like 50 to 80% chance of death. That's what I thought when I first heard this virus. I'm like, damn, like it could have been a lot worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Like if this was like the Black Plague kind of thing, or like
Bruh.
yeah.
Spanish flu, like yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, man.
Hold on, Kyle's saying so a third helps somehow and is needed. I don't think the third. Okay, yeah, the third booster I think is kind of silly because.
Well, it all depends on I don't know what they're seeing, but if they're keeping track of people's antibodies, right? Because that's what this vaccine helps to do. It helps you build up these antibodies for when.
But for the
next...
first variant, right? For the first version, right?
So if it only worked on the first version, why are there more people who are unvaccinated sick with the Delta in hospitals, but not as many people as people who are fully vaccinated, right? Wouldn't there be the same amount?
Well, okay, that's the thing, right? So I guess this Delta variant isn't a new. Yeah, like it's still showing some sort of advantage to resistance and like Yeah, resistance to the symptoms, not resistance to transmission. So Kyle's saying, okay, so a third booster might help, but then it might be a fourth booster and a fifth or a sixth. But my guess is this annual thing that I'm talking about aren't boosters. I think the annual thing is going to be a new version of the vax. Like they're gonna push out a new vax every year to deal with the latest, deadliest variant. That's what I guess is gonna happen. Not boosters. Wouldn't you think?
I don't know. We'll find out. But the whole point of a booster is to bring up your immune system to be able to handle the virus. It's not like...
Yeah. I get that. That makes sense. I would see that happening as well, but in my eyes, it's all money making. Yeah. Happy birthday.
I mean, it is,
thanks,
eh?
Ren.
If you can make money while doing that.
Oh, yeah. Pfizer, let's go.
If you know they're going to make money, you can take advantage of it.
Buy Pfizer now. Maybe I should buy Moderna again. I actually never bought Moderna. But anyway, money
Genius.
is the only way to make new vaccines. Well, yeah. Well, yeah.
Just turn my sectional into like 3-seater.
Nice.
In
I
10
didn't even know I
years'
could do that.
10 years time, cancer's rates quadruple.
Do you guys think there's already a cure for cancer? They're just not releasing it. Because think about like how many people would lose jobs if there was a cure.
I want to say that's like I'm like 60-40 on that.
That's pretty close. This is
60%
pretty
is
We
close.
like-
all know, I'd say most of us know someone who has suffered from cancer. So if I was a person working in cancer research, I knew the cure, I would want it out there.
No, yeah, you would because you're working, right? But
Yeah, but I'm not gonna like risk people who have cancer's lives just because I want to keep a job.
no,
Like,
no,
give me
it's
another
not.
fucking job.
It's not those individuals. It's the people at the top who run that stuff, who make us a lot of money. Not the worker, just the people who run the stuff. You know, like
Mhm.
you get
Yeah,
some
sure.
scientists. You get some scientists. Oh my god, and he brings it up to all right. Keep this under wraps. We got to keep it a secret. Then you only get this elite group, and then you bring it up to the top, slowly up to the top that ladder. You get the boss sees it, and then that guy who discovered it gets killed.
Yeah. That's exactly
Right.
what happened.
Like
Oh,
I mean that's makes sense to me.
That makes sense to me. So I will. That's truth.
There's a crazy video on Netflix, a crazy documentary. It's called Icarus,
Icarus.
and
Icarus.
yeah, it has something to do with, I want to say, the Russian like doping scandal. How like the scientist was like a whistleblower, and it documents this random American journalist finding out about it and getting in touch with that scientist who was the whistleblower, bringing him over to America, talking about like the shit that he discovered in Russia, that scientist going back to Russia, calling the American from Russia, being like, yo, like, just weird shit's happening, like people are disappearing, I feel like my house is being watched. He flew back to America. He was like all paranoid and shit. And then I think like his wife called him from Russia and said, yeah, you have to come back now, like I'm in jail. Then he flew back to Russia, and the American never heard from him again. Then the other guy just turned up dead. So like I feel like, yeah, that is a possibility. Like what FJ said, like they could, like the bosses on top could just fucking end your shit.
Yeah.
More to Mike's point, like, yeah, if like someone would have said some shit by now.
I mean, we're a pretty advanced race. Our tech's pretty sick, man. We have sex robots. How cancer mutation of cells, still can't understand it. I get not understanding the brain, but like duplicating
I'm
cells.
sure we understand it to a degree. It's just really hard to. Every cancer, I'm assuming, is different, right? It's not
Yeah, all these
like
treatments are
some
about
treatments work, some treatment don't. Like you have one type of cancer that has really good prognosis, and some cancers that are like get you really fast. So
Yeah. And usually all these people find out, by when it's too late. Like it's spread too much, like right? Like
Seen Kyle's comment. The Icarus guy went on Rogan. Oh, I gotta check
yeah,
that
I
out.
think I saw that. I think I saw something like that. It sounded nuts. Like it sounded a little crazy from what I
Yo,
remember.
they just be disappearing people, yo. Like people, like you hear that in China all the time. Like people just
Yeah.
disappear.
Oh yeah. You hear that in North Korea too.
You wouldn't even know.
It's like,
Yo,
oh,
anybody
They never even
and
existed.
anybody hear about those soccer players in that soccer team?
what happened?
Well, that's a conspiracy, right? They're the only individuals who got out of the country to represent North Korea to play soccer. Right? So that now they understand what the rest of the world looks like, how the rest of the world operates, right? Cuz it's like walls up there. No one knows what the outside world is like when they're in there. So you're going to bring back 11 or 22 players, however many lineups they have. You're going to bring them back into society and they're going to talk about what they saw. That's like a big liability to how you run your country, right? So they people say that those people never went back to their homes, to their families. And they could also easily say that North Korea won the World Cup. Just
They come
Wait, hold
back
on.
and do
So what happened to the soccer players?
we don't know. Nobody knows.
I mean, they have to come back every 4 years, right? And you can't just have
Hold
a
on,
whole
hold on.
new team every 4 years.
Okay,
Well,
so
no, you have
they-
to qualify. You have to qualify. Like, if
So
those
they can't-
players, yeah, sorry.
Okay, finish your sentence.
So like, there's like games to qualify for the World Cup, and like the top standings or whatever make it to the whatever final. How many teams there are? 16, 32. The 4 years from after that World Cup, if we see any of those players again, it's a good sign. But would we? Would we see any of those players again in 4 years, even if they did qualify or not? But yeah, what are you gonna say, Deji?
Understand? So like, they left North Korea, came to America.
Well, at wherever the World Cup was being held that year, I don't know. I think it was Europe somewhere, wasn't it? Or was it
Okay,
Brazil? Maybe it was Brazil.
Okay, so the Brazil World Cup. Okay, so they played and shit, right? They
They
played,
played.
right?
Yeah, they played.
Okay.
They got
They
they got
leave
demolished.
Brazil? Did they leave Brazil?
I mean, I think they have to go back home, don't they?
After they played, they just disappeared?
Well, I don't know the news. I don't know the news, but
Oh,
we don't know anything about what goes on in there, right?
oh. I thought I thought like what you said was like left North Korea, went to Brazil,
Played the World Cup, right?
stayed, went back to North Korea, and then disappeared.
Well, we don't know. But if you think about it, if they saw the rest of the world, they see social media, they see other people, how we live lives, and like consumerism and capitalism, all that stuff, whatever. Like the glorification of, capitalism versus communism.
Okay.
And then you're going to bring those people back and expect them to fall back in line and live their communism life again. I mean, that's a risk. I say that could be a national risk.
So you're saying this is like a hypothetical, like they weren't actually like declared missing.
Oh yeah, it's hypothetical. So I wasn't stating anything as fact.
Oh, I was like, yo, that's crazy.
But that was the controversy, though. It was, or not the controversy. That was what
like,
people were saying, bringing up, like.
I was about to say, yo, are you telling me like all of those soccer players got disappeared?
It's
I was like, nah,
it's possible.
That's nuts.
Kyle said
What?
people disappear for the organ trade. And Kyle said, if I were on the North Korea soccer team, I would try my darndest to stay in that country. Yeah, you'd want to disappear. Let's say you're playing soccer and then you get eliminated. You run away. Like, you'd try your best to, like, run away and not have to go back to North Korea. That's just like any kind of refugee. For sure. That makes sense.
But if they caught your ass, it's over.
Yeah. Well, they can't kill you in Brazil, but once you get back home.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that'd be rough.
Yeah,
All right.
bad
Well,
for people, for humans. Sometimes I just think about all the horrible ways all the humans that have existed in history have died. Like, man, people have gone through some bullshit. You ever heard of Vlad the Impaler? Not to make this morbid.
Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah, that's his name, Vlad the Impaler.
Okay, what? What?
Yeah, when you have some time, just look him up, man. This dude used to like impale people on like wooden sticks, like
Dracula.
Sticks that were like sticking out of the ground. He would just like impale them, and they would just like slowly fall through the stick, and it would just like slowly go through their insides and shit, and it would take days for them to die. I'm like, that's crazy.
For what? For trespassing?
Who knows? Who fucking knows? He would do that to his enemies and shit. There's a video on YouTube called 10 worst medieval torture methods. I watched that shit years ago. That was actually the moment I lost faith in humanity. It wasn't like explicit or gory or anything. It would just describe these instruments in detail. Like, wow, yo.
Yeah, people like invented that shit.
Yo, that thing where they put you in that like metal ox or something, and then like put it in fire, and then you would just cook. Yeah, the bull.
And then when you scream, it makes the sound.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah,
but imagine you were just like a villager in this like small, Asian village, and then you get like Genghis Khan and all the Mongols pillaging all of your villages. You're just chilling. Yeah, that would have been a shitty time. Or like, your village leaders are like, you either accept and have them basically take over and take all your women and children, or you resist and fight and just get massacred.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, man. Those people had not a lot of them would have been like, oh, I don't want to. It's like, yeah, back in them days, freedoms were quite limited.
What was that movie? It was like, is it? It's not Last of the Mohicans. It's like, was it like Apocalypto? Have you guys seen Apocalypto?
I have seen Apocalypto.
That was a sick movie.
That's a sick movie.
It's like a similar thing, man. Like a advanced civilization comes and tries to take over takes over your village. They bring you to this like ridiculous, Egypt-looking thing, and yeah, I mean, savage.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's like, that's coming though.
Yo, nowadays it's just tech is the thing. It's not based on like these false beliefs. Like you've seen those like civilizations like in the Amazon, right, where they have no touch with the outside world. The only time they've ever seen it was when a plane was flying over, taking documentary video of them, and they're like, what's that? It's like that's all the only thing they've ever seen.
Yeah, man. There's what's the name? They talked about this on Rogan too. That one dude that like went to go take pictures of like these indigenous people who had never seen like another human before, and like he was trying to convert them to Christianity or some shit, and they shot him full of arrows.
Yeah, they can just kill them.
Oh man.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
I mean,
I just laughed at that.
I mean,
that's coming though.
If he tried to do that himself. What do you mean? What's coming?
Fucking advanced civilization. That's coming.
Oh. You mean outside Earth, dude? We're we're the ones. Yeah.
I saw a Boston Dynamics video the other day, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm never coming on this page again.
Boston Dynamics.
Yeah, they're the ones that have the advanced robotics shit, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
They have this dog shit. Super uncanny valley vibes.
They've had that for they've been working on that like for decades.
That shit is super uncanny valley
Just
vibes.
that it can run and stuff, like
you push it over and then it still stands up.
Yeah. I mean,
It's like, these robots are doing choreographed backflips, running, jumping over obstacles and shit, like with precision.
Yeah,
Like,
you see the half court basketball shot robot?
yeah, man, they can shoot you from a mile away.
Yeah.
Scary, man. Scary. Scary hours.
All right. Yeah, that's easy. I figured. Yeah, they're miniaturizing the tech.
Yeah. Crazy, man.
All right. Well, I guess to wrap up the whole
Right.
resistance to mandatory vaccinations. Again, I've yet to see any kind of government rollout of some sort of law that we have to get vaccinated. Are you guys under the understanding that it's going to be a thing? Like it will be law? Not even just to travel? Like, do you think companies will have the right to terminate because of it?
I think
Again,
that'll
it doesn't
they're
make any
doing that.
sense. It doesn't make sense why they would do that because it doesn't protect the company. I don't get it. I really
It does
don't
protect the
understand.
company.
Why?
Why would it not?
Oh, the
How would it
working
not?
part. You like, because I think Deji did say that, where it's like rather than missing 2 weeks, you could lose, miss way more. I guess is that how it's protecting the company?
Well, that's a factor, like, because at the end of the day, it's a corporation, like it's all about the bottom line, right?
So what you're saying is that company would let's say it's not mandated. You can't terminate. It's against the law. Obviously, it's protected right now. It's protected. Like you can't terminate someone if they're not vaccinated. You can't terminate someone if they are a certain race or a nationality or age or sex. All of that, right? But you're saying someone gets COVID working for this company. They get sick. They miss 2 weeks. They're still sick. So are you saying they would still, like, that company has to keep them employed and has to keep paying them sick leave?
Oh yeah, bro. Yo, son,
Yeah.
like the way
What if it's like a board of director that
yeah,
gets sick
like
and dies?
Yeah, but is that just a thing? Like, really? You can't do your job because you get sick. Like, if board of director has the flu and just isn't getting better and is always at home or let's say in the hospital, the company can't eventually be like, well, he's not performing his job, we can't keep him on payroll because it's costing us money. Like you can't do that. Did
you get sick at work though?
Did he get
That's
sick at work?
that's important.
Well, how you
That's the
okay?
important question. Because
Well,
if you
that's
got
just
sick at work, then yes.
okay.
Yeah, like the
That makes
company
sense.
the company is liable, might be liable if they get sick at work and they die or something, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, even if they don't die, if they're just sick and they can't work. But even if you're vaxxed, you can still get sick at work.
Yeah,
Is
but
that-
it wouldn't. But you're not going to be hospitalized.
Not gonna be hospitalized, and it won't be a long-term sickness. If she works, they can just say they got sick at work, and that's like
it gives them an excuse too, right? Like you have the vaccine, you can still come to work.
Yeah.
I know people who are like, okay, so I know like some company owner who wants his employees to come back to the office. Like they definitely perform better and more, like they get more higher productivity, better customer engagement if they're all in person in the office. And he wants this company to be back in the office. But right now, I think anyone has the quote unquote right to request to stay working from home if they don't feel going to the office is safe. This isn't vax necessarily right now, but it might become vax related. But that company owner, does he have the right to end some employment for some of these people who don't want to go back to work. That's like the right to refuse unsafe work. Well, yeah, if the work is dangerous and you don't want to do the unsafe work and you lose your job, like what's up with that? Like what's up with that?
Yeah, that's
If
tricky.
part of the job is
Forget
to go
that.
in the office and you don't want to go to the office, why can't you lose your job? I don't know.
Wait, so you're saying if part of your work is going into the office and you don't want to go into the office?
You shouldn't lose your job if you refuse to do unsafe work. That's what Kyle said. No, so like I said, the company owner knows that they get way more work done, and their productivity and also like effectivity in terms of customer base is way better if they have in-person office engagements. If you continue to work from home, the numbers are lower. Can that company owner, I don't know if the word is pressure, or if those employees just eventually refuse and I never want to go back to the office, can that employer terminate them?
I think that depends on if the employer has provided means for that unsafe work to become more safe. Like if there's adequate personal protective equipment, fucking glass barriers and shit, like sanitizers everywhere, ventilated rooms, and you still don't want to come back. I think that's when they can like now look at their policies and be like, okay, we provided this, this, and this, and this, and this, which falls under this government mandate of for a workplace to be considered okay to open. You have to have these things, and you still don't want to come back. Okay, now we can terminate you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
makes sense.
A vax wouldn't make it safe, right?
I mean that's part. It counts though. It's not 100% like we said, but it
Like,
it
let's say
counts.
they start providing the option to get vaxxed at the office as part of your, you don't even have to leave work. We can vax you right at your desk or something as an incentive. Kyle says,
that's more
what
of
if
an
some employees are unvaxxed? Because then they make the work unsafe. No, because then that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Some employees are unvaxxed, therefore they make the work unsafe.
Yeah. So maybe that's what motivates the company to mandate vaccinations.
Yeah. Okay. So it's gonna happen.
Yeah, they can always find like ways around that shit. They just gotta amend their policies and fucking make sure they check the boxes on all their like employee occupational health acts and make sure they're just not like doing anything that's directly in violation of that, but they can like figure out the loopholes and shit.
Yeah.
Like, I used to work in another studio and things are going to be opening up again, but I don't want to go back and work there now that I know I can do all the work from here. Like, I don't want to go in anymore if I don't have to. Save gas and save time.
Yeah, it's tricky, man. It's tricky. It's tricky. It's tricky. Rock. It's tricky.
Anyone else want to say anything? Any
Anyone
message to out there? To people out there? Teachables?
Eat your fucking green vegetables, motherfuckers.
Drink water. Get some good rest.
Get some sleep.
Get some.
Stop being so woke.
Get some light. Get some sunlight. Stop being woke.
Get some fucking sleep. Everybody's woke these days, man. Get some rest. You too woke.
too woke.
Fucking everybody, have you noticed everyone on fucking Instagram is trying to give you advice? Like, shut the fuck up, fam.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true.
Oh my god, I'm sick of it.
How many different
Talk about
ways
that next week.
am I gonna learn to get like a better butt or a better six pack or shoulders? On that note, I'm gonna go to sleep.
Or fix my mental wellness.
too woke.
Oh my god. Relax.
Everyone's a guru now. Later, Kyle. Thanks, man. Peace. Yeah.
I don't know shit.
You know what's crazy is, remember when Gymshark? You guys know Gymshark, right?
Hmm?
The athletic apparel.
Hmm?
Gymshark is athletic apparel, like TNA, or, but like not nowhere near as big as TNA or Aritzia. Like it was a gym apparel, like workout apparel, that catered to really accentuate a woman's figure. So they had like an Instagram kind of blow up, and they had a bunch of influencers, like high-end influencers, who were promoting their product. But now there's a whole bunch of competitors to Gymshark. Gymshark still does that thing too. But all these other competitors, and probably Gymshark, are now reaching out to just anybody to become ambassadors, to be these influencers. And I mean, it's a marketing ploy. The incentive is, if you agree to be ambassador, they'll give you a 50% promo code so that you can buy their product and promote it on your social media. And then if anyone uses your link, you get a cut off that commission, right? If other people, your followers, buy through your link. But in the end, they're still always selling at about 50%, which is obviously inflated like 2,000% for the materials or whatever, right? You guys see those? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I mean, I've seen similar stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. So like this whole culture of influencers used to be, you know, relatively high-end exclusive individuals, but now it's everybody.
Yeah.
There's like
Everybody, man.
there's over, I think there was a statistic where more than 1 million people have 1 million followers on Instagram.
That's crazy. That
Think
shouldn't be
about
like that.
Yeah, think about that. Like,
I don't think that should be like that.
right. It doesn't.
What's the percentage of 1 million to the people in the world right now?
Well, there's like
Wanna do
7
that
billion
math real
people.
quick?
There's like 7 billion people. I don't know if the figure I said was exactly correct here, but let me do the math right there.
Is that
So,
0.007?
uh,
And I fail calculus.
let's do 8. Let's just say it's 8 billion. 4, 5, 6. That would be million. That should be billion. Is 0.0125%. It's not even a tenth of a. It's just over a tenth of a percent. No, it's not even. My bad.
Actually, that's fine.
It's 100th of a percent. It's very small.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
That 1 million people have 1 million followers.
Yeah, that's fine. Because the world is a fucking huge place. 1 million is
Yeah.
nothing compared to the world.
Well, you got to think about like how many of those are children, how many of those are like people in places that don't even have an internet, don't even have Instagram. How many of those people are bots? You know, like.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I mean, are there really 1 million people out there that
If it was
popular?
like 500 million people have 1 million followers, I'd be like, that's
All
crazy.
right, I'm gonna look it up right now. How many Instagram accounts have over 1 million followers? Oh, okay. Here we go. What percentage of Instagram users have 1,000? I said 1 million. How many Instagram accounts is 1 million? 546. What number of monthly? My God.
Yeah, how many users are even on Instagram? That's important, actually.
No,
Actually, that's really important because not everyone has Instagram. Those figures are skewed.
I might have messed up that number like tremendously.
How many people are on Instagram?
I'll look that up.
and do that math.
How many Instagram accounts are there? 1 billion. There are roughly 1 billion active users on Instagram.
That's like 0.01%.
How many Instagram accounts?
So it's 1 billion. 1 million divided by 1 billion. 1 divided by 1,000.
It's like 1,000.
Okay, that's still fine.
I mean, sure, you're gonna say fine, but are there really? I maybe that million's wrong though. Hold on.
1 billion Instagram users, eh? Oh.
0.27% of 1 billion. Let's do this math. 0.27%. Point zero zero.
You're getting the 0.27.
It says here that the 0.27% of total users have 500,000 to 10 million followers.
Oh, that's
So that of a billion of 1,000,000,000,000. So 2.7 million accounts on Instagram have over 500,000 followers.
that's fine. That still evens out, like in relative terms. The 1 million people having
How
more
many
than 1 million.
celebrities are there then? Like, you know, are they really celebrities?
Yeah, a lot of them is like pet pages and fucking automobile shit, and like it's a whole range of shit, like photography. So it's
Oh,
not necessarily just
right.
Instagram
Like
influencers, right? Like it's
memes
like,
and stuff, right?
yeah,
Like
like a whole bunch of random shit, design pages and fucking. That makes
true
sense.
GoPro companies,
Yeah,
right?
car
National
companies.
Geographic.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, okay. That's true. There's a lot of companies out there. And then lots of copycats. And there's even like accounts that are just fan accounts
yeah,
for other
yeah,
celebrities, right? So
yeah.
okay. Fair. Anyway.
Cool.
All
That
right.
was a nice little
Little yeah, side note
statistics.
tangent. That's cool. All
Mike
right,
still there?
well, yeah, Mike, you guys we gonna run some more?
No, I gotta
No, I'm
sleep.
going to bed.
All right. All right, well, that was cool. We will be back next week, I think. Yeah, Thursday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. I think there's gonna be a day, Dej, where Neela wants to do a dating one, but it won't be on a Thursday, and it might be earlier in the evening. You down for that on like a Monday or a Tuesday?
I was literally thinking about that earlier today.
She asked me about that the other day. Anyone's welcome to come, but
Yeah.
she can't make it on Thursdays at 10:30 p.m. So we might do a dating one on a different day.
Super down.
All right, cool. All right,
I
peace.
know.
Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week.
All right.
All right, let me sign off.